Welcome everyone to my live stream here on lichess and Twitch. Intro National Master William Paschall. Hello. Hello. Oh no, I stepped in the coffee. What's up, guys? Pawn the crew here. We are going to be back in Budapest in about 10 days. I think we'll take a week off of, the best part of a week off of streaming. But hopefully be back and get Ponda online. The original Ponda. What is up, guys? Who's there? Nefedov? Abate? I saw Nils earlier. Muleskin, thanks for subscribing for 17 months, is it? 17 months. Awesome. Thank you for the support. We need all the support we can get. These have been crazy the last couple of months. Hopefully get some stability back in life, and that will help improve my stream as well. Life stability will improve stream stability. Hopefully the stream is looking all right. Doing our subscriber stream today. 11. Oh, and move on. Okay, so we've got games from Ubatis, Asterbait, Dim, Nefedov, Big Money, Nils, Mule Skinner, Someone on Sound, and Move 11. Bringing us up to 9 submissions for the game analysis for today. This is our Thursday subscriber stream, so we're doing game analysis for the subscribers. Asterbait just said, uh-oh. Move 11, what's up? Good to see you. How long have you been a subscriber, by the way? Move 11, what kind of do you have there? Can we see? You have to like make it. You have to make it public. You should be able to like click on people and subscriber icon and see how many months they have. Asterbait, what's up? So you're here. Okay, if you're here, it's all good. JCS not here yet, right? I didn't see him. All right, guys, we're looking good. Again, Nefedov, Nils, Asterbait, Mule Skinner. Did I see someone else? Is that everybody? Mule Skinner resubscribed. Yep, Mule Skinner 71 resubscribed. They subscribed for 18 months. Excuse me. They're on a 17-month streak. They subscribed for 18 months, but they're on a 17-month streak. Does that make sense? How can you subscribe for 18 months but only be on a 17-month streak? Anyway, I'm not going to think about it. We'll give him credit for 18 months. JCS is here as well. So let's get started. I guess the first one is Ubatis, or Spectacular Camel, who actually submitted this like pretty far back. This is a few days ago. Okay. Put this in late in the stream since I'm not around. Alright. We'll move Ubatis to the end. He says to do it late. Actually, I forgot about that. Alright. Let's start with Asterbait then. Acerbait. Acerbait, sorry I missed the Wednesday stream. Was that the right message? I guess so. Sorry I missed the Wednesday stream. The Cochran. Johnny Cochran. Wait, that was from the O.J. Simpson trial, right? Wait, who was Johnny Cochran? He was the prosecutor? Am I getting my characters right? Thursday commentary stream submission. Alright. So what are we supposed to do? This is the game? This is what I was trying to bring you. This one? Asterbait versus Piode? Is it the Cochran Gambit or the McConnell Asterbait? Johnny Cochran or Mitch McConnell? What kind of gambit do we have here? Depends on what decade we're in. Was this the one, the 62 cent upon loss? Second is the Gambit. Is this correct? He was OJ's defense attorney. Okay, not the prosecutor. I forgot. It all gets kind of blurred, you know. That was like 23 years ago. Was it like 22? How many years ago? 23 years ago? The OJ Simpson trial? Johnny Cochran. All right. This is the correct game, yes? All right, we're gonna get started here. I encourage Acerbate to try the Cochrane gambit, e4 e5, but he gets unfairly messed up here after knight f3, knight f6. It is a Petrov, and Acerbate takes on e5. His opponent plays d6. Oh, this is correct. Okay, I saw a different game. My bad. You played this correctly. The other one, his opponent played knight takes e4, which is the Mitch McConnell variation. Hold on a second, guys. So this gambit or variation has been known for quite some time. The continuation, I've seen even reasonable players try this just for fun. But Mamedyarov comes to mind. You see Mamedyarov here in 2015 actually managed to win this with black against Fedorchuk. I mean, that's embarrassing. Queen e7, queen e4, etc., etc. White has a significant advantage. There is an interesting point I'm trying to remember now. So d takes e5, and here, what was really messed up about this Fedorchuk versus Mamedyarov game. So, I mean, it's not a variation that the average grandmaster sees every day. This Mitch McConnell variation. What is it called? The McDonnell variation. But, you know, strangely, he played like queen takes e5 in this position, which is virtually unplayed. I don't know. And Fedorchuk goes on to lose. There's also Afromeyev, who plays another weird Petrov line. With the Afromeyev is, as I tried against Nefedov once, black playing, what is it? Queen e7 right away. Kind of an attempt to improve on this thing. But I think that confused Acerbate naturally. His opponent took here. He tried to do, this is another game, he tried to do the Cochrane gambit against that, which is different. The stream does look and sound better. Speaking of, Juicebox Wizard, what's up? Wolfsing. Well, we tried a little bit to modify some of the settings. Actually, Nils, I don't know if Nils is here, but he helped me like quickly try to improve some of the settings. So hopefully it's better. But anyways, look at this. It's a proper Cochrane gambit. After knight takes e5, d6. But last mention of that last variation, knight takes d4, do queen e7, so queen e4, and then d6, d4, and strangely, so Fedorchuk plays queen takes e5, but this is not a normal move. You're supposed to take with the pawn. This variation is pretty well known, like knight c6 here, bishop e5, and it's not clear if black has enough compensation, but the guy basically got it wrong. He took with the queen on e5, which isn't as good. Mamedyarov's secret is his opponents making mistakes. Anyways, sometimes it pays off to play offbeat stuff because people just don't know it. Alright, so d6, and then Acerbate tries takes f7. So Nefedov, this Vladimir Afromeyev, is he Russian, Pavel? Is he from a different republic or country or something? I just see the high rating and the really weird openings. But I think we talked about this earlier. Some player who never like leaves his region, I mean, how would he not? He's never played, he'd get an IM norm or something. It's like Grandmaster strength with not even an IM title. It happens sometimes. What's up, guys? Juicebox Wizard, Wolfsing, JCS. So, I thought Acerbate would do well with this. So let's see how it goes. King takes f7. Now he played bishop c4 check. So this has been played. I'm sure there's more games than what's listed here with the bishop c4. And his opponent's move is considered to be good. I guess the d5. So I think even bishop e6 is interesting frankly. But it looks like the d5 is best. So basically you sack a pawn, and then you blockade with the bishop on d6. You see here, Reindeer Man. Reindeer Man against Bosboom. Black just gets everything developed. So Azerbaijan goes astray with bishop c4. You're supposed to play like knight c3 or d4. Basically, you can play d4 because knight takes e4, queen h5 check. And unbelievably, Van der Sturen didn't know what he was doing here. What is this? g6, queen d5 check, king g7, queen e4. That's strange that a grandmaster wouldn't know like the line for black. I mean, I don't think the Van der Sturen is just sacking a pawn here. I mean, maybe he thought he had enough compensation somehow, but that's weird. So, in any case, Azerbaijan goes wrong with bishop c4 check. You're supposed to play... It doesn't matter, though. You can play knight c3. The only difference with knight c3 is that black can play c5. There is the idea of c5 anyways. So, this is probably black's defense anyway. I think the best defense for black anyway with c5. Some people play this queen e8. But I like c5. I looked at this for some lectures on chesslecture.com at one point. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Nefedov. You're too serious. I know it's Reinderman, but I like to call him Reindeer Man because it's just much more fun. It's kind of like camel culture. Saframeyev is from Russia, and he's 2650 at one point. Jeez. All right. So anyway, this is how it should go. Basically, black gives back the third pawn. So you have 8 pawns against 5. And it's an interesting game. Some strong players have tried playing this gambit with white, the Cochrane gambit. Sulskis comes to mind. If there's any Sulskis games here. He's probably the best player I can think of. Alright. But anyways, going back. So knight c3 is considered an option. Any Sulskis here? No. No Sulskises. Alright. So I don't know. This database is a little bit out of date. Let's see what Asterbay did. So bishop c4 check, bishop e6. This is the game. Now bishop e6, king e6. It's a little like the fried liver attack. So Nefedov, you were preparing this variation with white pieces? Interesting. So the king's chilling out there on e6, but black's kind of happy that the white squared bishops are off the board. So it's basically a really interesting position. Now d4. And, you know, obviously he shouldn't do what he did here. So you have to have some common sense. Common sense. I mean, retreating the king either to d7 or f7 would seem like a sensible approach. The problem with d7 is that e5 would remain an issue. Maybe black could even get away with this somehow, like transferring the queen to e8. I have a feeling that this might not be that bad, even king d7. So, but our main priority is getting the king out of the center of the board for black here. Now e5 is not even an option because you just take and you're pinned along the file. So a little bit of safety here for black. He plays instead knight takes e4. And so it's an invitation to the center. Asterbay is going to win he's going to win a pawn back. I mean, obviously if you play king f7 here, it's not that different from Van der Sturen against Reindeer Man, except there's more simplification, like an extra pieces off the board with the white square bishops traded. But still, I mean, this would be like logical to play king f7, queen takes, and maybe try to survive somehow. I mean, even if you could just trade queens, it's just an end game where you're only a pawn down. Maybe there's hope for black to survive. I wouldn't generally recommend trading queens, but here the black king's very open. Instead, after queen g4, he plays the crazy king d5. We get to see Asterbay has some fun here. So, I mean, right off the bat, you can see that white can play queen d5 check, and then after king takes d4, bishop e3 check, we're going to be, if not checkmating black, at least winning the piece back with check. So, this is not a solution. I honestly thought like this is the straightforward, the line that's most straightforward. Queen f5. But maybe there's something better. I really don't know. Asterbay plays c4. And that's not a bad move either. I mean, I suppose any way the white you know, the white pieces are going to face off with that black king out in the center, he's going to win. I mean, I guess you could submit a puzzle challenge as your, if you were a subscriber, but I'm just doing subscriber game analysis, so we won't probably get to that. If it's a non-subscriber game, I don't think I'm gonna have time to get to it, even a puzzle. But a puzzle's a good idea as a substitute for a game analysis. So c4 check, king takes d4. If he runs away, he's losing this pawn with check. So he takes here on d4. It's like crazy looking. Bishop e3, apparently a blunder. I don't think it's a blunder. I disagree with this whole concept of labeling +5 positions blunders, but the computer considers this not the best. Bishop e3 check. Now, obviously, king up is what Asterbate is hoping for. Instead, we get king takes c4, and now it's a king chase. King hunt, right? Sounds like an old video game. King b5, knight c3 check, king a6, queen a4 check. That's beautiful, man. Put that in your collection. Put it up on the wall. You should frame it and put it up on the wall with all the other Asterbate mates. I don't mean to make you feel bad there, Noli Fact Bot, but I simply have to honor our subscribers. That's the point of the stream. This is my subscriber stream. So every Thursday I do this to kind of thank the subscribers for contributing to the stream. And maybe on another day, you know, maybe on another day we could do, yeah, absolutely. So let's go on to game 2. What do we got here? Wolfsing. Wolfsing is on the list, so we've got 10 games. I mean, I'm gonna get in as many as I can, but try to get through 10 to 12 submissions for today. Thanks, guys, for joining me. Hopefully the stream looks all right. Thanks to Nils for helping me just troubleshoot the stream settings a little bit. Okay, Yabatis we're waiting till last, so we're gonna do Jim now. I think it was Jim was next. H4 the Ponda. In honor of Ponda, we're going back to Budapest. Micro Ponda will come with us. Hello. Micro Ponda fits better in a suitcase. Macro Ponda, I'm sorry.
No!
Wow. He was not happy about that. The Kadash opening. So, Rapid Chess, Master Heck versus Dim. Oh, this is the other day because, was it yesterday somebody tried to play H4 against me? No, Tuesday in our tournament. No, yesterday. No, it was the tournament on Tuesday. Okay, I'm right the first time. Tournament on Tuesday, one player who won the tournament, I think, tried to play H4 against me. I just resigned. I was insulted. They berserked and played H4 on the first move, so I decided I didn't want any part in that. Maybe for a Wednesday stream. I think PM better ask if it is alright. Yeah, I mean, it's a puzzle. It's alright. So, Master Fugo is the master of defense. Move 11. The Minister of Defense. I don't think that he's down with H4 so much. So H4, the Kadash opening. So I never met Kadash Gabor. He died a few years ago. Hungarian master. He was like an FM or a candidate master basically. And I'm not sure if he was an FM actually. Would have to look it up. But I never met him. It was an older master, passed away. Famous for playing H4 all the time. So now that's called for the rest of his days. We'll call it the Kadash opening. H4. Looks like a few people have played this. I mean, this guy Daniel Fernandez playing against Bacro. That's embarrassing. Living in infamy for the rest of your life. Who is that? Sorry, the green fluorescent people. I can't ever read their names. Someone on sound. What does that say? Previously subbed for 3 months. The artist previously known for being someone on sound. H4, B6. Very well. You know, just do what you're going to do anyway. Good to see you guys. So the pawn stop now. H5, H6. This is a reasonable approach. A lot of people do this like too automatically. But I think here, I mean, is he really threatening to play H6? He's not really threatening to play H6. I mean, you're going to take it with a knight. You don't really want your pawn structure to be destroyed with something like, if the bishop's supporting that, you know, maybe H6 is a something, but I don't think that Asterbate needs to play H6. You could probably do without it, at least temporarily. It's a little reactionary. Is Yasser's Serwan defensive plan to play G6 to meet H5 with G5? Well, no. I mean, Yasser would be like he'd already played G6, and the Yasser system is when you play like H6 after H4 to meet H5 with G5. That's what I've always thought. Usually you can absorb it. Play the Grob. It's a good Grob after like G6, H6, H5, G5. So this is a little bit unnecessary, but okay. I'd like it better if you played the London system and your bishop was retreating back to this diagonal. Then it's particularly fitting. You had other plans for this bishop, though. Okay, I'm not going to condemn H6. Maybe not necessary. Bishop E2, E6, knight F3, knight F6. And I will admit I've played H4 a lot for fun. But I would never play it like against a strong player in a serious game, like where the other guy was streaming or something. That's why I was kind of pissed the other day. And the other thing is like berserking at the same time. Whatever. So when I played H4, I used to mess around with this kind of concept. I would do it in a way where I would play a funny plan. I would play H4, H5, and then I would play C3 and try to transfer my queen with like Queen A4 over to H4 and try to use that queen. It's fun to play this queen transfer from A4 to H4. Something completely different here. I think that H5, you know, in tandem with the bishop on B2, this is probably, I wouldn't call it a normal system, but it's probably something that this player has seen somewhere, or, you know, basically adopted. Maybe he made it up, but it makes some sense. You can play H6, there's like a pinch point there at G7. C5 looks good. It's basically in English where white just spazzed out with H4, H5. Now Asterbate has to decide on a plan of development. Master Fugu, a resident blowfish, would recommend knight D7, hedgehog type formation. I think that D5 makes a lot of sense here. You do have to be wary of like a bishop coming to B5 with check, perhaps, but I'm not sure it's like fatal. I like delaying castling, so white doesn't go nutso with like G4, G5 very quickly. When you castle here, I mean, you're kind of giving him a chance to go crazy on you. I can't help but wonder, you gotta ask yourself, did ancient aliens really invent chess? You've got to ask yourself, I mean, are you setting yourself up for a strong attack here for white? Along the diagonal, along the G file? I mean, that starts to look a little bit problematic, actually. Hold on just a second, guys. We're back better than ever. I know this looks like kind of absurd, but if you're going to play h4, h5 and play it like that, then you might as well follow up with rook g1 and go for the gusto. So what I'm saying is maybe Astrobate should be a little reticent to castle into that diagonal. There's nothing wrong with delaying castling here for black. You have a lot of flexibility in your position. Again, like a hedgehog type of thing. I don't know. You know, this d5 maybe. Maybe you can make waiting moves like queen c7, hedgehog style. I sometimes think I have an open plan room, and it's just really good at mimicking the sound of a sliding door. It's a rare architectural design I've never seen in another house. I'm sure other houses have them, but kind of unique, like unique ship style sliding door. All right, bishop b7, knight c3. I mean, he's blocking his bishop with that move to some degree, but the knight's on a better square. So castles d4. I thought he should just go for your king here. You know what I mean? Be consistent. d4, d5, good. I mean, when he's going postal with the h5, I think you should try to play centrally. At the end of the day, he might end up looking silly with h4, h5. Now he's clearly castling queenside. After I see queen c2, the engine suggests knight b4, I guess, judging from your analysis. But I mean, this looks like a good move. One thing that concerns me here is White's ability to drop the queen on f5. Kind of a good, I guess you call it an outpost for the queen. Particularly effective in this type of structure. Castle's queenside, and now you took on d4. I mean, what we'd really like to do is get the rook to the c file. It's like a queen's gambit. It's almost like a queen's gambit exchange variation in a lot of ways. d4, d5, White's playing with queen on c2. There's a kingside pawn storm for White, but the White king isn't real safe because c4 has been played. A lot of similarities with the exchange queen's gambit and castle and queenside there. The only difference really, the bishop on b2 rather than like bishop on f4, bishop on g5 in the queen's gambit. So c takes d4. I think this is okay. White clearly has to think about this. I mean, he's shutting down all his play on the d file if he takes with a pawn here. So he takes with the knight. There's that square, and there's also the possibility of the rook coming up and even maybe getting active. But at the same time, the rook could become a target. So I think that black played this correctly. Now rook c8 would be my choice. That's what you played. King b1. Okay, can we do anything here? Tying White down to c3. But bishop e4 is not an option. I mean, clearly you could play knight e4. That seems very logical with the threat of queen c7. Bishop f6 is on the table too. So this is what you did, in fact. Like a totally natural move. I like it. Guys, welcome to my subscriber stream. We're analyzing subscriber games. Knight takes c3 check. You could possibly build up here with like bishop f6 or queen c7 rather than simplifying. But he's threatening bishop takes e4. So we got to do something fast. Okay, queen c7 is possible, but then knight takes d5. Queen c7, bishop takes e4, or knight takes d5, queen takes c2, bishop e2, knight takes f2. That's complicated. But bishop f6, what about that? Is there a problem? Bishop takes e4. Bishop takes d4, bishop h7 check. Yes. Houston, we have a problem, right? We just lost 2 pieces for a rook. And there's no way to... Good luck trapping the bishop with g6, right? So that's out. So you kind of just caved and played knight takes c3 check. I mean, it's certainly not a bad move. Can we find anything more aggressive, more dynamic here? Any way to increase the pressure? The only other move I mentioned was queen c7, but even there, you might be facing this. And in that case, you're facing two very strong razor-like bishops. Take, 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 take. Knight takes f2. Look at these bishops raking the king side. Maybe there's nothing white can do, but it looks visually kind of scary. There's like a rook on the 7th at some point later on. Okay. Anyway, so knight takes c3 here. It looks very reasonable. You got a very simple bishop a3. Not a move I would have suggested. Bishop f6. Queen c7 and bishop f6. What are we going to do? If queen c7, there's rook c1. And everything's protected for him. So bishop f6, that's a move I'm surprised that you missed because it's pretty straightforward. What's the time control here? 15 plus 10. I mean, it's conceivable white sacks the exchange. If you did something like queen b2, bishop d4, bishop d4. I'm not, real convinced that this isn't kind of an interesting exchange sacrifice. I doubt it's sound. We can defend probably g7 in a creative way while maintaining some attacking chances. I think chances are this is unsound for white, but fun in a blitz game. So basically, knight takes here, bishop a3. That's a move that I don't even understand. I don't even understand what our threat is after bishop a3. Just, hey, Spectacular Cam, I held your game back. We're not going to do it this week. We'll try it in a few months. Oh, it's a stupid joke. Obviously, I'm not serious. All right, bishop a3. Yeah, so I'm missing something. What are you threatening with this move? You're stopping rook c1, I guess, essentially. But you don't actually have a threat. That's the kind of funny thing about this position. You literally don't have any threats. So, just a tactical miss, basically. I think the way you played the rest of the game was good. Yeah, obviously now he can play attacking plans with that. So bishop f6 has two purposes. I mean, it not only is like a fianchetto bishop, that it protects g7 and it has good pressure as well. Really just a one-move mistake. But for some reason, white thought there was a threat. I really don't get it, He thought there was a threat, so he moved his queen to d2. It's a strategic plan. He's getting out of the pin, and he's threatening this. If white had two moves in a row, like queen d2, bishop b4, I guess he's just clearly better. But the rook g4 was stronger. Are you in serious trouble after this? You have to play f6? That's pretty horrendous. That is not something you want to have to do. The alternative would be d4, but that doesn't even work. Yeah. Alright, so now queen d2, queen d7. I mean, I think this is a threat, a positional threat. There's also rook g4. So he has two threats, essentially. Does this do much about it? Well, it just connects his rooks, but I think he's... This guy's not going to miss this too many times. It's strange. Was this a simul? Jim? I didn't even ask. Yeah, it's a simul. Okay, it's right there. Master Hex simul. So he's basically probably in some time pressure. Trying to move too fast. But this is a bizarre move, king a1. That's something I would do in a simul, but it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. King a1 just literally doesn't do anything. It's not necessary. Even I wouldn't do that. That's just like a move where white's trying to think of a move. He can just play any move real fast, it seems like. King a1, a5, rook h3. This I was waiting for, actually. I was kind of wondering when this would happen. It's a matter of time, something like h4, h5. And so he's on to the whole concept of rook lifts now. It looks like he figured it out. Apparently, you were setting up... Oh, you were setting that up. He set you up for it, though. By leaving his rook off the back rank, he's actually setting you up for that tactic. But if it happens, say, like rook takes c3, queen takes c3, rook c8, he might, you might not have a threat at the end of the day because of a rook c1 check, bishop b1 in our position. He might be able to defend himself. You can see some funny variations. You get a rook on the 7th, but he plays bishop b1. Then you play like queen f5, but he sacrifices his queen for the rook on c1. A lot of stuff. Looks like white has an initiative here. Rook takes c3 supposedly. Excuse me. Supposedly winning, but I didn't see it either. What's this do? Rook c3, queen c3. I mean, I see this. I see the way queen is short of squares. I mean, even bishop c4 technically is a move here. Probably not the strongest. But let's just, for argument's say this. This. I still don't see the denouement in this position. Queen, as I said, like this type of variation. I mean, I just don't get it exactly. It's easy for a computer to see, but I don't see it. I don't see the win. Rook takes, queen takes, rook c8, and what now? So let's give it to the computer. I don't know, you know. Why is this so strong? Okay, let's take a look at this line. Rook takes c8, queen takes c8, rook c8, queen d2, rook c1 check, bishop b1, and where's the final move? Yeah, this is very, very hard to find. I mean, like a winning attack, apparently, down the exchange with no concrete immediate threat. It looks like white's pieces are very, very active here. This is hard to find in like a slow game, let alone in a simul-rapid play. I mean, not too many grandmasters would have gone in for this. Be right back. Yeah, I would have missed this as well, guys. That's just a typical kind of like long-term computer calculating. 15, 17 moves deep, 20, I don't know. I probably killed my stream with the engine there. Nils just subscribed to tier 1. He subscribed for 7 months in honor of my engine analysis, which he loves. So move 11 or someone that I missed was pointing out this idea of queen b5, queen f1. That's pretty deep. Very nice way to exploit the bishop on b1. Hard to find it though. So instead he plays bishop d6 with a clear idea of bishop to e5 and also stopping the rook transfer to g3. Certainly not a bad move. Wow, and he just hung a piece here and you didn't you didn't see it. You just gave him credit. Credit where credit is due. So the engine usage in the stream was still on. That's the way it used to be in the good old days. My stream would only kind of crash and lag if I had like multiple lines. So hopefully it will be good. Thanks a lot, Nils. Rook takes c3. Rook g7, king g7, and this is just speculation, it looks like. But maybe not. It's not speculation anymore. Holy cow. So this actually... Do we have some sort of d4 move? Queen takes c3, d4? What am I missing, guys? I guess we're just missing the obvious, that you just do the obvious thing. You queen takes f6, rook g3, king f7, and he just simply runs out of checks. The point is, there's nothing there. Bishop g6, check king e7. You just walk away. You're up a piece. You're just basically up a bishop at the end of the day, for like one pawn or something. All right, guys. Thanks for supporting the stream. By the way, Nils this week, the hero of the stream, 2,000 bits donated. Dim donated 500. Someone on sound with 200. I want to thank all of you guys. T Dark, Cash Mink, Merle Dixon, and Asterbait. Asterbait with 14. Percy Hepworth, what's up, everybody? So it's over. It should be over. King g8 was played. And I forgot that your bishop's on g3. And this is just ridiculous. So I'm hallucinating that that was possible. Forget about it. It's over. So f4. Basically, Dim showing off his win against the candidate master 2400 here. But both sides made some funny moves at the end. Missing queen takes g4. White sacrifices a rook that doesn't work. And now all of a sudden, mate in 2. Bang. Alright. That's what you get for playing h4. And I think that was basically Dim's message to us. The Ponda, but we're punishing that guy for h4. In a serious game, in a simul. I mean, come on now. Asterbait donated what? 49 bits? 49 bits, Asterbait. Thank you. Nils, would you like to buy a vow? Nils, you're 5th, so you've got to wait through 2 more games. Nefedov and Big Money. Got another submission from Testosterone. Oh no. There goes the pen. Dim just donated 300 bits. Chesty. You look for a game. Why did I think you already submitted a game, Nils? That's really strange. Wait, I'm confused. I thought Nils already submitted a game. He invited me. No, I guess he didn't. Alright. He didn't already submit a game. Yeah, he didn't, actually. Alright, well, if you want to, then you submit a game. I'll reserve a spot for you. So, where were we? Alright, next. Nefedov. No. Nefedov. No. Nefedov. Yes, Nefedov. Nefedov, we were wondering, how many months have you subscribed to my stream? Have you been a regular subscriber for like a record? I mean, because I thought you've been here the longest, continuously, of all my viewers. But I mean, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I'm wrong, you know? We're all wondering how many months Nefedov has been subscribed. Jim, thank you for the 300 donation. Thanks everybody for watching. International Master William Paschall. We're streaming our analysis stream here on lichess and Twitch. The record is Clash Kid with, I think, 19 months. Am I correct? Nefedov's the same. So that's probably the maximum. 19 months. Until notified otherwise. I assume that's the maximum. Move 11 just subscribed. Oh no. Move 11 has broken the record with 20 months. Just as I was announcing 19 months was the maximum. Move 11 with 20 months. He subscribed to Tier 1. That is awesome. So Move 11, a true supporter of the stream. Actually, all you guys are. Move 11, the record holder with a 20 months continuous subscription. That is awesome, man. Thank you for continuously supporting the stream. Actually, JCS is probably up there as well. All you guys. So good job, Move 11. Thank you so much. All right, Nefedov is next. Second place. Nekidov. Nekidov. This is my today's boring over the board game. Let's do the boring over the board game. Whole mob system. King's Head. So there was like a King's Head pub in London where they used to play. Is that this club? The King's Head pub. Chess team. Here. I think I've only been around for a year. So JCS is, I think it's longer than that, but it seems like longer. Move 11 has been here since the beginning. Nefedov obviously close to it, but I only had subscriptions for the last, best part of the last 2 years. So this is King's Head Pub against Nefedov. They used to have like rapid plays or something in London. JCS just subscribed to Tier 1, 11 months. But I think, so he's only been 11 months. Alright. Knight F3, Knight F6, C4, C6. You do us a great service by being our moderator, Mr. JCS. Nefedov is black here, playing his Slav. Sometimes Pavel plays G6 though. I never really know when or why he plays G6. How you get him to play G6. Sometimes it's like a normal Slav. Sometimes he plays a G6 type of Slav. Sort of Schlechter Slav, though you can get him to play the Grunfeld in some positions too. How strong is our opponent here? Pavel. E3. I had a funny game. I don't know why this just popped in my head. I had a funny blitz game with like who was that? A very famous player. Bulgarian. Kirill Gergiev. My blitz game with Kirill Gergiev was something like D4, C6, C4, B5. I don't know why this just like popped out in my mind. I was sort of stunned. I think I lost in blitz against Kirill Gergiev where he did that. I don't know why that just... I was looking at B5 for some reason. But if you want to play something offbeat, that definitely qualifies. Spectacular Camel just subscribed. So we're getting lots of subscriptions. Thanks all you guys for resubbing. Nils submitted a game. Alright, well you're coming up in the list. Thank you guys for resubbing. Nefedov claims that G6 is played randomly. Okay, so I was just looking, what can you do here? Interestingly, I was kind of expecting a Nefedov G6 type thing, but he only does that against me, apparently. I mean, Nefedov is pretty solid, and I think that when you're playing in a team format, it's an encouragement to play extra solidly, at least for the most part. Not everyone adheres to that, but I think they should. You never want to lose for the team. Some players are more dynamic than others. And they win and lose a lot of games. They can't really change their style. But I think most players get a little more conservative in team format. So D4, E6. Bishop D3. This is a kind of rare move. Bishop D3 there. I don't know what it really means. Just a move. Basically a Kali system in reversed. In reversed, yeah. You know that I'm not getting enough sleep, right guys? And now Pavel played Bishop E4 check. It's difficult to understand this move. There is a famous game where Tal did a similar thing. Let me try to remember who it was against. I want to say Botvinnik. Botvinnik. Whatever I do, it's like trying to pronounce Rafael Leitao's name. It's like Nefedov will say that my pronunciation is shit. If we try to make it sound Russian, I'm horrible. Even after 4 semesters of Russian in university, I still can't pronounce Botvinnik properly for Nefedov. Bishop B4 check, Bishop D2. This is the problem. One of the problems, and we don't really want to trade this. So basically this is like a bluff. I mean, we're putting our bishop on b4 in a position where all of our pawns are on white squares. So a strong player with white is sitting there thinking, you don't really want to trade that off. You're just bluffing me. So all inner positions are probably good for white here. He could sit there, okay, knight c3 is good, bishop d2 is good, and knight d2 is good. Take your pick. So I hate this move. You just got to play a totally standard semi-Slav here. Knight d7 and go and play chess. There really is no other option. 50 years of English. Damn, dude. Don't worry, not yet. I'm not ready for the senior championship yet, Nils. I'm not that old. Though you think I am. I know you like to troll me. I was speaking English when I was -11. Move 11. 39. I'm 39 again this year. Keeping my age secret. I'm close enough, man. Don't joke about the truth, you know. All jokes are rooted in truth, right? So, where are we going? Bishop b4 check, Nefedov. What are you doing here? Bishop d2, and now queen a5. Nefedov doesn't like gambling, but here he's like putting good money after bad. You should just admit your mistake and play bishop e7 now, or bishop d6. I guess either one is good. Admit your mistake, Pavel. Say, oh, I'm sorry. I just put it on the wrong square. I'm going to bring it back to like d6 or e7. Stay away from the beers. I'm 39, but I look like 50. I'm 39, but I look like 37, 35. Yeah, the beers make Nils do bad things. But you can always redeem yourself with donations. Bishop e4 check, queen a5, making it worse. No, it's just the queen is probably going to lose time out here. And that goes with my you guys joke about Feingold, how he says that f6 is always bad. I think that we would be much safer with a Slaggy rule. I mean, f6 actually has some redeeming qualities, but queen a5 is always bad. Like it really is always bad. I think we can safely say that in almost every case. I play the Kavalek King's Indian with queen a5, and I know it's bad. Soltis might not agree, but I think it is. Every time I play the variation, I'm thinking this just isn't right. All right, gave you 2,000 bits this week. I thought you'd forget after all those beers. Queen a5 check, castles, and now what? Trading. And now white is smart here. I think you could trade queens and be better. But white did trade queens. If you're going to punish queen on a5, you're not going to do it by playing queen takes d2 in this position. I was talking to Nefedov about... Not Nefedov. I was talking to Asterbate about basically trying to take advantage of your opponent's breaking of principle. And this is a typical example where Black is breaking principles by bringing the queen out early when none of his other development is in. So are we going to exploit that by trading that queen off? Absolutely. Absolutely not. I mean, I think that in some case you could make an argument for like, oh, well, he wasted a tempo on moving his queen out to a5, so I'm going to trade off his queen and gain a tempo. But I think that realistically, funny accent by Bill Goichberg, this is really not enough of an argument. I think that the better argument is, hey, his queen's on a5, it's exposed. We can probably hit it with like a3, b4, gain space, kick it back, make it a target. You just gave me $40. I have to check my donations. Wow. Bishop takes d2. Bishop takes d2, queen takes d2. I'll have to buy you a beer, man. Bishop takes d2, queen takes d2. I earned it. That's different. Queen takes d2. And, but it's our secret. Good thing Bob's not here. He'd be getting real nervous right now. Queen takes d2, queen takes d2, knight on bd2. This is even interesting here, because you might make a case for knight c3 being the best square for the knight on c3. And I think that that knight could actually make way for ducklings there with f4, f5. Really strong positional player of Igor Foigl style. Like knight on f takes d2. Let's see what the oracle says. I would be surprised if knight fd2 wasn't a decent move here. Give it a little time, though, because it'll probably need some time to play knight fd2. Obviously, the knight is controlling e5. So, I think if we let it, if we guide it a little bit with this move, it'll like this too. Yeah, I mean, basically the evaluation is close. It looks like an all alliance. White has a very large advantage. But the computer is just real business-like. Knight on b takes. No, Nefedov, I don't like this. This is not good. Just taking credit. Taking credit. Queen takes d2. Yeah, I think after that I have to raise my price after today. I was thinking of raising my rates. Pay for my excise tax. Massachusetts has an excise tax for autos. Like, you have to pay some percentage of the value of your car. It's like the most antiquated tax in the world. That came in the mail today. So it went to a good cause. Whose game is this, guys? This is Nefedov's live game against the Team King's Head. Yeah, anyway, this is lame. Trading queens is lame, but white's still slightly better. Castles A3, okay. Here. Yeah, I mean, there's a situation where you might want to think about F-Rook. Anyway, Rook E8. White's played really safely. What is his ELO? I'm sorry, Nefedov, if you already said it, but I'm curious what your opponent's ELO rating is. Nefedov has less development, but he's opening it up here with E5. I was concerned about two things. Isolated pawn on D5 and or the hole on D6. So basically, when you play this, if CD, you have a bad structure. Oh, you have a trick, though. He can't play CD because of E4. He could sack a piece. I mean, let's look. I mean, this is not a joke. You know, something like Miles would do this, probably. There was a famous game where Miles beat Kramnik by sacking a piece. Similar way. I mean, this is kind of interesting. If you want to really do something with white. Sack a piece here. C-file, 3 pawns for a piece. What do you guys think? Nefedov would do this, right? But then there's the hole on D6, which makes me a little bit nervous. So I think that maybe he missed his best chance. What's the deal? The engine doesn't like it. Oh, the computer doesn't believe in this line. Wow. Okay. Wow, so the engine doesn't believe me. It says that this is okay for black. Wow. I thought we're playing Rook C7 and we're good. I'll check out Stockfish evaluation here. Negative 0.1. Wow. 3 pawns in an endgame and control the C-file, and you think that is better? My human intuition is telling me otherwise. But perhaps the computer has seen something very deep. There is Rook B8, but then B4. I would rather be white, I think, here. Okay, but it's up to you, computer. If you think that's good for black, all more power to you. I think it's an interesting sacrifice. So anyways, who knows what would have happened. But instead, white played this kind of lamer move, this. And now it looks like black's alright. I mean, basically, I think you're okay now. After this exchange, white has some infinitesimal advantage. At this point, you should seriously consider maybe Rook E7 rather than Rook E8. Rook E8 looks kind of robotic. But if you play Rook C7, you might be able to profit by actually controlling the 7th and even doubling your rooks. Have a contest. You beat me. Oh man, I thought I could beat you to it. Good job, JCS. High five. Fist bump. So, Rook E7, I like better. Trying to make a profit out of this rook. Turn a profit. Rook E8. You're an accountant, Nefedov. You should understand profit. You don't want to profit from this. I mean, I think here is seriously something to really think about. Just a minor thing, you know, but every little bit counts. So keep the donations coming. Thank you guys, Nils, JCS, for subscribing. Who else subscribed today? We had someone on sound. Bunch of players subscribe, resubscribe. Maybe it wasn't Nils today, but we had like 3 or 4 people resubscribe, which is cool. Rookie 8, Nils did everything else. He paid us. He donated bits this week. He helped me with the technical side. Okay, Rookie 8 though. That's kind of lame. You did resub, okay. You did everything. Perfect citizen today. H3, you know, that's a scary move to face. Move 11, how do you play this for a win? Move 11's aggressive. I'd like to get his input on how to play this boring position for a win. Move 11 is very optimistic, and he tries to play a win for a win. I'd like to see a match between Nefedov and Move 11, where Nefedov, you know, is okay with a draw, but Move 11 wants to try to win when he's basically equal. It seems like, I don't know what would happen. H3, D takes C4, Bishop takes C4. Bishop e6. This is like a standard orthodox Queen's Gambit scenario now, where Nefedov could actually be better. I mean, the outside pawn majority right there against the 2. I have a book by Eric Schiller from like 30 years ago on the Queen's Gambit. And I remember there was like one variation in the orthodox Queen's Gambit that's analyzed literally over 30 moves deep. And I knew it years ago. And it's really coming down to that. I mean, the queenside majority here might be an advantage. The D file, though, probably offsets it. So he grabs the file first. Just analysis today. You have a negative score versus Nefedov. Well, you see, he's tough, and if you overpress against him, he'll take you out. So it's hard to beat him. He's very, very solid. Rook d3, king f8, rook d1. Well, you're not better because of the D file, but your queenside majority offsets his D file advantage. So I think the draw is totally like fair result. I would take a draw against the equal or stronger player here with both colors. Okay. Anyway, it was worthwhile to look at the game. Nefedov, not as boring as it seems. At least some interesting points. Big Money is up next, and then Nils. So on everything in his power. You're 3-2 against Move 11. Move 11 overpressed, obviously. Majority of those games. Alright, Big Money. Where is Big Money? There it is. Guys, this is my subscriber stream. So I'm taking games submitted by our subscribers, analyzing them here for your viewing pleasure. Kind of way of giving back to subscribers something unique and individual. Big Money, uh-oh. This is my game against Big Money. Oh, this is the last one where he like equalized after playing this bad variation. He's one of the first people to actually manage to survive this line that I can remember playing against. It's all the standard starting position. In symmetrical English, the most common variation, d4. I do this, by the way, because if you castle, and then play d4, black has the option to play d6, and I think if you do approach this from the white side, it seems irrelevant at first sight, but it's more useful to play d4 right away, so you would limit black's options by playing d4 right away, because now, in this scenario, you don't have the d6. I mean, maybe there's some way to play this. D takes c5. I don't. Someone actually played this. What did we say about Queen a5, guys? Queen a5 is always bad. This is no exception. Man, this guy did it against Damljanovic in 1990. Not sound. Knight e4, castles. Interesting. Knight takes e3, bc. Wow. What is happening here? I'm curious what the engine says about this. Just on a tangent here from Big Money's game. Wow. So if you try to take rook b1, what about bishop takes c3? Wait. So you just play this? That's funny. Bishop d2. And then knight takes, and you got there. Computer is like plus 1.3, 1.8. Wow, that's more than I would imagine, you know? Think, okay, maybe plus 1. but it's that bad for black. Anyways, so I like the move order that I play here. Not without a point. Castle, castle, and then he plays this a6, which is so trendy. I mean, so many people do this. I can't believe it. It's just bad for black. So you have to play one of two moves in this, one of three moves in this position. I mean, occasionally I guess there's queen b6. That's yet another try, but for the most part, it's d6. Excuse me, knight takes d4. Okay, there's more than three. There's knight takes d4. There's knight g4. Those are interesting. This move has been played quite a bit recently. Queen a5. I didn't even know about this move until like basically around 10 years ago, when it was played against me by one of my future teammates, Juhas Armin. Actually, it was probably later. It was probably 2000. This was much later. I'm lying. Okay, I didn't know about this move until 2014, I want to say. Let's see what we got here for dates. Yep. 2013, 2014. So this has become a trend, this queen a5. Most recently, I saw this played in the Grandmaster tournament I played in last year in Hungary. It was Benjamin Glodora against Robert Marcus. So that was a draw. But d6, knight takes d4, and d6 is the main line. Here you can also sack a pawn, this old pawn sack with d6. Probably not that easy. But here he plays a6. This is just patently bad. c5. But now queen c7. And somehow Big Money finds a way to equalize this. I've never had any trouble getting advantage normally. Check this out. Does that look familiar to you guys? I've referenced this game quite a bit. So I'm the only person ever to play knight a4 in this position. And this is like over the board inspiration. Let's check out if this is good though. I lost this game. This was a heartbreaking game in 1992 where I was just winning and lost this game. But how strong is knight a4? You know, it's interesting to consider this. Putting the knight on the side of the board, is this a mistake to play knight a4? Apparently it's a mistake. I'm not developing any pieces. I'm putting my knight on the side of the board there with knight a4. Never repeated. I was able to get a very significant advantage in that game. Queen a4. Never play queen a5. Queen a4 TN. Wow. That's even crazier than knight a4. Fertile ground for new ideas, guys. Anyways. In 1992, I had a good tournament started, and I lost to that guy. It was just sick. I think I drew with a 2600 in the game before that. I mean, it was really... And this was a long game I lost. Like a winning position almost the whole way through. So knight b3, and now rook d8. Big Money finds the right move here. The only games that have been saved have been with rook d8 and h6. So this has all been played before. 2 draws, strangely. And even stranger is the fact that they're both from 2017. Are these like correspondence games? I mean, is it my imagination, or is it kind of weird that 2 games of this, you know, just abstract, rather unusual position would have been played the exact same position into the same year? Hoffelsauer and Neumeyer. I mean, this we'll have to call Clash Kid, because I think these there's a small chance these are Austrian players here. But it could be correspondence. It would be a very strange variation to pop up in correspondence chess. So let's see what we did here. Rook c1. We're playing like Neumeyer. And now bishop e6 was played by that guy, developing a piece. But I honestly I liked Big Money's move now, queen e7, getting out of the line of fire. And I couldn't find anything here. So I logically developed queen e2, and then bishop e6. And I failed to find something. I mean, now he's bothering my knight on b3. Who is Bob Dylan? What is this? Some sort of Jeopardy question? 1992, what? I was still 39. I just turned 39 in 1992. Bishop e6. I don't know what to do. I couldn't find a good move here. I thought for a while. The Oracle says bishop g5. And it changed its mind. You know, e4, it's funny that e4 never occurred to me to play this. You've got this piece that's on such a great diagonal, and it's open. So, it's not the first thing that crosses your mind to play e4 in this position. I'm younger than that now. Yeah. I'm getting younger every year. So I don't know what to do here. I didn't want to see him chopping this and simplifying. Like a Tarash, basically. I know the d5 square looks nice. And Bob Sakamana was on the stream. He kept talking about like knight d5 or something. I guess this wasn't the simul. I keep thinking it was a simul, but this was 2 days ago in the Rapid tournament. But I never had the moment for knight d5. You see, like, my e2 pawn is always hanging to his queen, so I don't have the time to play that, basically. It's a little like a dragon, like a fianchetto dragon or something like that. So when you play e4, it starts to look like one of those g3 variations against the dragon. But landing a knight on d5 is what the computer wants to do. This just hadn't occurred to me. So I played this. I think on a good day, I probably would have played like bishop g5. I played this. I'm hoping he takes, and he does. And I have a better structure, but I overlooked this, which is just a strong move. And I think this equalizes. So I have to give up my dark squared bishop. I save my pawn structure. I have, you know, better structure, but he's got such a strong dark squared bishop that I don't have an advantage, you know, despite the better structure. And all my pieces are good. I thought structure will be, you know, the most relevant thing here. With no bad pieces and a better structure, I would have a long-lasting advantage. But his bishops are just too good. So it was a nice job. And now here, I probably made a mistake. I mean, I don't think there's a reason why I have to take with the pawn here. But in retrospect, I'm not sure. Like, queen takes f4, I was mostly concerned about this. And materialistic, bishop takes a2. But obviously I have rook here. I also have the attempt to trap his bishop. But I wasn't sure. Because at the end of the day, I mean, he could just start grabbing everything. I'm not really sure what's going on here. So, decided to kind of take with the pawn, and I wasn't happy. So rook e8, rook e1, and then he takes, which I think is not necessary here. Your bishop is so strong. And now you have like compensation. I think just the messed up fact that my king side is destroyed. Excuse me. I just jumped forward, guys. So we'll go back. The fact that my king side is messed up, you don't need to do something like bishop takes c3 anymore. You don't need to try to grab the pawn on a2. You have compensation, the two bishops and my destroyed pawn structure. So this was a mistake. I thought the engine doesn't seem to agree, but it just doesn't seem necessary. I could probably take with the rook here as well. But again, I was concerned about bishop a2, and I was planning to play b3 and trap the bishop with queen b2. So that's an important component. Is gf4 ever a good move? Yeah, I think so sometimes. It doesn't happen too often. Now here, it's equal. I mean, he's got a weak pawn on d6. I have this weakness here. I think it offsets itself. In fact, my king is actually kind of exposed because of the doubled pawns. So rook takes c1, rook takes c1, rook c8. I thought he played this kind of conservatively. He could actually keep the queens on and try to play against my exposed king in some scenarios. So I was happy to see this, and I played this move a little too quick. The fact of the matter is the endgame is just totally equal. I was hoping I would get my king to the center and have an advantage, but it's just not enough. So trading queens here is just a draw. I need to try to keep the queens on. I guess play something like e3. But I have a lot of holes in my position. I have to be careful. So it's probably equal. Basically, we got to a king and pawn endgame. He played well. I mean, b6 is a good move. He's going to pin me. And the fact that my king gets to this dominant square, it's not enough. It's like one advantage is not enough to win a game. You basically need like 2 weaknesses to win. So I have actually a pawn fixed on white square on e4, which is essentially a disadvantage. And I don't think he has to play f5 here. It's very tempting, but there's really no reason he has to do that. What if he just sits and does like f6, h6, and whatever, just hangs out with his pawns on like f6 and h6. I mean, essentially putting his pawns on dark squares. I don't think he can lose. I mean, as long as I'm not getting through with my king somehow, for me, this f6 looks good. Let's see. The engine calls it equal. Yeah, so you should not lose in this position. So this is kind of aggressive and risky for black. It's still a draw. Bishop f3. Here, and the first thought, I thought, okay, I can triangulate. That's what I basically tried to do. So e3, h6, h3, we're waiting. This is apparently a blunder with b5. So he can play, not to give up the c5 square. I guess that's the losing move. So this is what he needs. d5 check, and then he can go back and forth from e6 to d6, e6 to d6. There's just no way I can win. That's fair enough. So surprisingly, this is a losing move after that, because later on I triangulate and I make him like go into Zugzwang, and he can't play d5 anymore without losing the c5 square. That's essentially how he loses here. So I guess the evaluation doesn't change. I'm able to just make him run out of moves. If he doesn't give up the c5 square, I just don't have enough advantage to win. Okay, big money. Nils is up next. We're going to stop the stream for now, for today. A little bit early. I'm not feeling good, you know, so we're going to stop before Nils. Yeah, you guys know I was just kidding. All right. Hello. So we're going to take a break for like 2 minutes. I'm going to be right back, and we'll be analyzing Nils' game. Nils, you did submit something. All right. Because the tactic is so beautiful. All right, we'll take a look. Scoble against Nils. I haven't seen Scoble. Send him back here. All right, Scoble against Nils. We'll flip the colors. We'll be right back in a minute, guys. All right, Nils is in the house with this game here, the Vienna game. Interestingly, there was a comment I saw in a chess book about the Vienna game. Louis Paulsen, famous for playing the Vienna game, basically claimed that people who played the Lopez with white were missing out on half of chess or something like that. So there is something to this opening. I mean, e4, e5, knight c3. I think on a practical level, this opening is probably really effective because a lot of players don't know the theory. So many games like from 100 years ago, 150 years ago. Again, mentioning Louis Paulsen. This opening is not as trendy today as it used to be. There's probably a lot of fertile ground for analysis. I know, like in the one main line, there has been some developments. Who was it that played this against me not that long ago? f4, d5. There was somebody that played like knight takes e4, queen f3. Was that you, Nils? Somebody. I had a game against someone who was talking about this variation. Now, I can't remember who it was. So there is a lot of room for new ideas. Some of the less popular openings, probably the Vienna game, one place where you probably still find some kind of new stuff. So this is actually the line, except he doesn't play queen f3. What's up, guys? Bob Dylan. Yeah, I didn't see Bob Dylan. Guys, I'm curious, how old are you? I'm 5. I'm 39. What does Chess Explain recommend the Petrov series against the Vienna? Something boring. Shots fired. The boringest thing you can think of. e4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, f4. I don't know, just ask Caruana. f4, d5. F takes e5, knight takes e4. Main line. And then knight f3. I mean, I gotta be honest. I think this stuff with queen f3 is kind of it's just a glorified Latvian gambit or something. It's like the reversed Latvian. It can't be right. You know, it just can't be right for white to do this. Maybe it was move 11. Somebody I analyzed. We did this on another subscriber stream probably. Somebody had a game. Where I did this. Was it you, Nils? We were talking about this line. This is a cool position with knight d4. There's only one game with Terminados and Master Vasilis. This is an awesome variation. Like, I was going to just create a theoretical novelty, or maybe I did do this. I can't remember if this actually happened, or I was just talking about it, like sacking a pawn for black here long term. My own, like, dementia is kicking in here. Yeah, we were talking about it. So it was you, Nils. Okay. So I invented this gambit for black, essentially. Which even this is not bad for black. But it's sort of irrelevant, because the whole variation just sucks for white. After knight to d4. Anyways, I think queen f3 is artificial. So let's play correctly. Computer says queen f3, but I have the feeling it will change its mind if you give it enough time. The people who got excited and started playing queen f3, they didn't run their computers long enough. I mean, I think it will stop that queen f3 once it gets far enough. It's just not right. So maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I'm wrong about a lot of things, but I mean, it just doesn't seem fundamentally correct. So knight f3, best by test. And what do we got here? Bishop e7. Not a lot of theoretical works out there on the Vienna game. There was a book in like the early 90s by Mark Seitlin. It's like an old Russian grandmaster. Maybe he was Israeli eventually. I don't know if he's still alive. One of the only people who ever wrote a book on the Vienna game. I mentioned Soltis a lot lately. Soltis is another player who would play the Vienna game. It's rare to see an e4 player who plays e4, e5, who doesn't at some point play the Spanish, but Soltis always played like knight c3. Still, I think it's a good idea. Chess Explained gives bishop c5. Most chances to play it for an advantage with black. What are we talking about? Like bishop c5 right away? I see, so we're just like bishops before knights. That feels some sort of reasonable practical recommendation. Isn't it like... Am I crazy, or is this a move? Is queen g4 a move? Not in this position. Not at this time. I'm inventing new moves today. It's a similar position that is a move, but not there apparently. Instead of bishop e7. Oh, okay. But look at that stat right there. You know, now that you mention it, I mean, it is kind of funny when you look at bishop c5 here. Move 11. I got you. You know, it is kind of funny that this move does pretty well. Black has like a plus score, but that's really because practical reasons. Who plays the Vienna game? Like we club players. So the high-rated masters, it's just not fashionable to play the Vienna game. Basically, club players play the Vienna game, and therefore that's why the score is bad for white. Not because it's a bad opening. The score is bad because the players who are white have a lower average rating than the players who are black. See, that's the problem with the statistics here. The statistics are not enough information. You need to see the average rating of the players playing these games. You have 99 games. But without that information about, you know, what the average rating of white is, the average rating of black is, it becomes like irrelevant. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. Wow, so queen g4. Anyways, that's my suggestion. Wow. f4 here. We've got d5, fe5, knight e4, knight f3, bishop e7. So Cheese Explained says that bishop c5 is the best winning chances. I have no idea, but this looks safer. And now bishop d3. The Liu Shanglei variation. Never even heard of him. He never heard of me either. Well, we're basically hoping that, you know, black will, take on c3 and then play dc, and all of a sudden white has a great game. I mean, that's the classic Vienna game. Whoops, white has like a crushing kingside attack. All the pieces pointing at the kingside. So you've got to play like knight c5 here. But Nils played f5, which is sharp and interesting. I guess I would prefer to be like Malakov. You can't go wrong with Malakov. 2700, who plays the accelerated dragon, English with white. He's super correct. I love to see Malakov games. The guy's just a great player. Never quite made it into the elite circle. Feels like the club at the top level has restricted entry. But knight c5 is good. Nils played f5. Okay, this is risky business when you move your f pawn early. But alright, it's kind of justified. If we take on f6 en passant here, nobody did that. So what's the deal with this? I mean, I want to take with the bishop, but we're losing a pawn. The database is way too narrow. But I mean, rating means everything. You got to qualify that data, so it's not enough information. E takes f6. What's up here? Knight takes f6 and black is better because the bishop is bad, huh? Not the best. Okay, it's something. The strong pawn restricts the white pieces. c3 and d3, white has nothing. Okay, so simply take back with knight. You can't play bishop takes f6. I mean, this loses a pawn. It would be nice to do that. It just doesn't work. Anyways, so f5, he plays b3. He plays castles. Castles is much more natural, but it's like sacrificing an exchange or something after this. Allowing bishop c5 check. And Nils doesn't go for it. He won't be conned into winning the exchange. It's some sort of subtle trap by the tricky Scoble and his gambit style play. So let's check it out. If we go bishop c5, then we take the bait here with knight f2 check. Takes. I mean, first of all, the bishop could get trapped. Secondly, black is a little bit behind in development, but I'm still not really convinced, right? Liu Shanglei has to be Chinese, right? It doesn't sound Vietnamese. Be right back, guys. Compensation, according to Stockfish. I don't think so. Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry for the delay, but it's interesting stuff. What we got here. Try to learn Russian, Spanish, and German so I can read chess books in those languages. That's cool. That's a lot of stuff to learn. But let's get back to this game. So Nils has a chance to win the exchange here with bishop c5. I think that you might have passed it up on purpose, but we've got to really know what's going on here. I'm taking this exchange. Astrobate gifted a tier 1 sub to Gladys Troll. That's awesome, man. Astrobate also donating another 70 bits. Way to go, Astrobate. Mr. Generous. Very helpful, man. Thank you. I mean, I'm not surprised if Black is fairly far behind in development. I mean, White might have some kind of realistic compensation here. I take this exchange, like, definitely. When you're playing a Gambitier, though, you're half wondering if this guy has planned this as some sort of long-term sacrifice. Anyways, probably should go for it. Castles, now bishop e2, no longer possible. Very, very, very sharp and double-edged now to play the d4. I don't think that would be my choice. It really feels like you're asking too much from the position, but objectively, okay. He has bishop c4 check and the knight back to e2. So it's a fine line between, okay, I've equalized, I want to play for a win, and overextending yourself. Your development on the queen side is non-existent, so I'm not sure if it's justified to play d4. It's certainly interesting and aggressive. He finds the right move, the only move, I think, essentially bishop c4 check, and now I didn't count on knight d5. I thought he was just gonna King's Indian it with knight e2. I mean, his knight d5 might create tactical possibilities with like b5. Maybe it's not a big deal. I'm gonna have to speed up this analysis because we got a bunch of games still to go. We have an hour left in the stream. Oracle likes both moves, actually. No, it's changed its mind now. It likes knight e2 better. I don't know. Just intuitively, it feels safer to play knight e2. Knight d5, d3. Now clearly Nils saw the idea of bishop c5. He likes it better this way. Like with an extra pawn down or something. I was like, my mom is like drinking a drink with a really loud straw or something in the room. I was like, what is that noise? d3, knight f4. You just missed it again? You mean you played like d3 and you never intended on playing bishop c5 check? No, he takes on c2 first. So this actually works. Okay, I got you. And he saw that and he saw that and he didn't want to. Wow. So what if you play again bishop c5 check first? Compensation. Even more compensation now than in the previous version, I would think. So he comes up with the solution here. Queen to e2, guarding f2. So you no longer like just simply win like the exchange. Yul Skinner, you're up next. Then someone on sound, move 11, Wolf and Chesty. And Yabatis. So we still got Yabatis. Shoot, we got to go. Okay, bishop c5 check, king e2, queen e7, and d4. It just looks like white just fell. I mean, black just fell apart. Yeah. Humbling. It's a humbling game for Nils. He's up to screwed here. But now he just played a ridiculous move. I mean, white clearly has the advantage in the center now. Material will be even if he wins back that pawn. It's not about material. Just white's superiority in the center is evident. But Nils did go crazy. He fell for a trap of some sort. What is this? Excuse me? Wow. That's a cool idea. Knight g5. If knight takes g5, queen h5, and it's over. Well, that's a nice shot. Knight takes g5, queen h5 resigns. That's pretty tough. And then secondly, Nils' continuation, knight g5, queen takes g5. Wow, you're kidding me. Queen takes e4. Oh my god. What a move. What a move, dude. That is nice. Queen takes e4. And if f takes e4, knight g6 check, you must take with the pawn. And it's like you lose everything. Oh man. That is brutal. Scoble got me once, I think. With a nice tactic as well. So Nils has just lost the whole center, basically. Queen f3. And if you can't grab this, you're still toast. There goes the king side weaknesses. Della Corta donated 200 bits and Astrobate with another 42. What's the significance of 42? Knight takes g6, hg, queen h3. And now would be best to play queen h7. Queen h7 recommended. Queen h7 strongly recommended. Made it in one with queen h6. Thanks, Nils, for sharing. Shark Gamer rating with a party of 10. Okay, guys. Nils, humbling game there. He showed us painful loss. But I think the opening was okay. No need to shout, Sharkima. I like the guy's rating, and Mubat like bans him. 42 is the answer of everything. 4-2 offsuit. Queen h6 check. Sharkima, thanks. And Della Corta, thanks for donating 200 bits and being a subscriber to the stream. We've got a raid from Sharkima. Guys, we have time for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. We have an hour left. That's a little less than an hour. We have like 50 minutes left in the stream. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games remaining. And we have 50 minutes. So we've got like 8 minutes per game. Let's get this done. Okay, Yabatis was in the house or not? Camel, are you here? I'm going to do Mule Skinner. I said I would do him next. Do the Mule Skinner game. Yabatis, are you with us? Fun game I played against Uber Driver. Okay. Uber Driver is really strong. Lots of subscribers, resubscribers. Move 11 holds the record with 20 months. Okay, Mule Skinner's playing white here against the very tough Uber Driver. You are lurking. Okay, Spectacular Camel. I'll do that next because you're, being a European player. I think you probably want to go to bed at some point today. Go to sleep. So I'll do your game next. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6. It's a Lopez with G6. It's not a common variation. Some people refer to this as Smyslov's system, I think. Although, if I remember correctly, Soltis attributes this to, he attributed it to like Steinitz or something. Which is probably relevant. Do you know any of the mods on lichess? Not really. Not really. But I think that's a good feature of lichess. I mean, you don't want the mods to become, you know what I mean? Like, let the site. I don't like there was like the Internet Chess Club. It always feels like the mods were trying to be like all powerful. You know, you don't want mods to become like manipulating the site and stuff and using their powers. It's better when they're kind of like not really their identities are not really important. I think. C3, bishop G7, castles, knight on G to E7, D4. Interesting line is A6 first. To throw that in, I had a game last year, 2 years ago, with A6, bishop A4, G6. I think it's an improvement for black. Slightly more respected. My incoherent thoughts about mods on lichess, what I was trying to say was, mods are good. You know, JCS does a good job here lately as our moderator, but, you know, he's kind of not trying to be this all-powerful, you know, guard of the stream. I mean, I don't know anybody on lichess. You should probably check the admins and stuff. I mean, I know some people, but not too many. So C3, bishop G7, castles, knight on G to E7, D4, castles. Now knight A3. This makes some sense to play like knight A3, knight C2. But at the same time, it's a little bit weird. I mean, here it looks like D5, D6. It's kind of old school. You just play D5, D6, and you stymie the bishop on C8. Mule Skinner, this has got to be a good line. Even back here, to keep the D line kind of open. See, here's some game Bruce On played in 2003. Kvinus, who's an opening expert. If Kvinus played it, it has to be good. Just blast them with like D6. I've seen this played as a long-term pawn sacrifice. Bruzon doesn't do that, but I mean, maybe you don't even need to recapture. Spinal Tap is a lichess mod. That's a good point. JCS. Spinal Tap did help me. I am Spinal Tap. Tom Bartel. He helped me when something went crazy with my account. There was like this glitch, and all my, you know, my title was like disappeared, and somehow my account had gotten glitched. So that's a point. Spinal Tap chess. All right. So knight A3. Anyways. D5. Uber Driver is monstrously good, but here he's like sacking a pawn. And it's interesting. So you give up your good bishop. You have pawns on dark squares. Basically Marshall Gambit style. Sacrificing a pawn. Knight takes E5. The knight is off sides. White has the white squares to worry about. So this is kind of interesting. I mean, you think that maybe there's something to the idea here by Uber Driver. Maybe he has C5. Maybe the white squares, bishop B7, but bishop B7 right away. What about this? That seems kind of thematic. Do we have this move? I like C5. That looks really, really good. Bishop B7 first. Well, if you don't get to play C5, that's not going to be a good move. Artie Fufkin. Yeah, we haven't seen Artie in a long time. Closely related to Spinal Tap, right? So bishop E7, rook E1. If black can't make this move, what's his position? Now you play queen H4. That's, speaking of incoherent, looks like my speech about lichess mods not really making sense. I mean, I like queen H4 in the Marshall with the bishop on D6, right? But here you have to admit that it seems pretty strange. Shadowing this bishop on the diagonal. I mean, I would think you should just move your what though? Move your other knight out? Maybe bishop D2? This is modest, but it's a move, right? Queen F3. I think he's looking for queen g3 here. And the black queen doesn't have any... Well, it could pop back to h5, I guess. This doesn't seem like it's Uber Driver's best game. He plays tougher against me. He's trying to play this? What is he doing here? A weird game by Uber Driver. Not his best. And now he just blatantly lost. Like, knight takes g6, what? Oh, wow. So you can take on g7. And there, the smoke clears. So basically, white is 2 pawns up. No, just, yeah, 2 pawns up. Destroyed pawn structures on both sides. But I don't see enough compensation here. This is a little too late. Too little too late. Wow, bishop e3. He took on d4. The other alternative is taking on e3. What happens if you take on e3? Is this so bad? I don't get it. I mean, this seems like clearly the best shot. Takes, takes, takes. You recapture. How do you recapture? CD. Bishop takes f3. We're literally, you know, a pawn down. But at least there's feeling like some hope. But he didn't do that. Plays c takes d4. Alright, no, maybe there's something to it. There's still knight f4 if you take with the bishop here. There's still knight f4. There's still some counterplay. It's opposite colored bishops. This pawn is irrelevant. Yeah, maybe Uber Driver's right. He's actually afraid to play king f7 because of knight e5 check. But maybe you should just play like back. This is really aggressive. He's trying to come up with the king to h5. We've got to consider king g8 here. Maybe even king f7, but king g8. Passive, but I don't know. King h6 is good. You see, now you have to play king g5 and pray. It looks like some sort of mating net. It doesn't look healthy. What do we do next? And now what? Subtle threat. Slight threat. So, g5, anyone? He doesn't play g5. Oh no. Getting closer to a mate now. Okay, so this just wins. That's it. Knight in game, 2 pawns up, game over. 1 pawn up. Wow. Still, it's technically winning. So it was 3 against 1. And that's just really strong. And black wins on time. Now you're just blatantly winning, right? I guess it's not that easy. I remember Danny Gormally was really mad when I drew him like in a knight in game 2 pawns down. It's pretty rare. It was like 3 against 1. But they were separated. I would imagine that with perfect technique, white is winning here, but it's not easy. Okay, guys, let's move on to the next game. Thanks for sharing that. That was an interesting battle, but I thought very, very good for Mule Skinner. Some technical questions. Obviously, both sides were short of time. Yabatis, I want to do that game next. We're going to try to get in the rest of these games. So Yabatis was the first one to submit his game. Here. You can put this in the stream late. This is what he said. Alright, guys. We've got 40 minutes left for the stream. Yabatis here. I played black. Alright. Spectacular Camel playing g6. So you lost on time because of the 5 second. You're used to having a 5-second increment. Yeah. Once in a while, I'll forget when I berserk or something. So interesting move order here. Knight c3. White's going to transpose to a pierce, possibly, after c5. I kind of think that d5 is really the best move, but this creates an interesting situation. Bishop takes c3. B takes c. No, I mean, I think you have to play queen a5 here. It's a slightly unusual order of moves. Usually white has like e4 instead of knight f3. I don't know what difference that makes. If it makes any difference, really. Is e4 a better move than knight f3? I'm not really sure. But instead, black plays f5. I'm skeptical about this move. I think that white has e4 here, most likely. I'm just going on instinct. e4, it's like the Gingy Indian. You got to do this as some sort of gambit. Because basically what probably happens to white now is that he gets Gingy Indian. You know, the problem with the Gingy Indian is the bishops. This is Roman's strategy in the Gingy Indian. You just kill the bishops on c1 and f1. The idea, Roman does this a lot in his games. The Grand Prix attack, for example, stuff. His idea was to kind of kill opponents' bishops. These pieces die, and then black has good knights in a closed structure or something. This move is really bad. I mean, this is horrible. So if you can play e4, you play it. Let's check this out. Plus 1.5, plus 2 for white. All right, plus 1.5. F takes e4. Do I ever play the Budapest? Sometimes for fun. I played it once when I was stoned, and I lost to a 2100. One of the only games I ever played after smoking marijuana in a tournament. I got really, really too inspired. I'll never be able to run for president now after admitting that. But I lost to this player who I never lost like again in like 11 games. But playing the Budapest, I got just really just out of my normal mental zone. Started to imagine all kinds of Emery Tate like fantasies and stuff. I just got too optimistic. Definitely be sober when you play the Budapest Gambit, I would say. But anyways, f5 was a bit over the top here. White was lucky. I mean, black was lucky that white played e3. All right, let's turn this off. That was a very long time ago. Yeah, this is like classic dead pieces for white. Bishops that just don't do anything. Queen takes c5, castles e5. It's a disaster for white. Look at those bishops. He's got to get them in the game somehow. There's a little bit of a problem for black. I think the file here could be backward. I'm not even sure that Yabata should play e5. To be honest, I think that maybe that's not our priority here. It's very tempting. We could also play without that move, so I'm not sure. If we could play in a sense like a more hyper modern way. Maybe like b6, bishop b7, trying to play. Speaking of Astrobate, trying to play with the fianchetto bishop. It might be more of a priority to get that bishop in the game, you know? So I'm curious what the engine says here. It agrees with Astrobate to play e5. It's plus 0.7, but what does it say about b6? Negative 1.7. All right, it's a little excited, but it's calming down now. It doesn't like b6. It's interesting. It says it's equal. Oh, now it's changing its mind. All right, anyways, computer agrees with Spectacular Camel with this occupying the center with e5. All right, bishop e2, knight c6. I'm concerned about this piece, this bishop here. But eventually you can play b6. He's got the idea of rook b5. And I don't like this move that you're not developing your pieces with knight e4. You're lagging in development here, playing a dangerous game. Rook b5, queen e6. This is kind of an awkward square for the queen. So it seems like Yabatis is asking for trouble a little bit here. Potentially giving white some tricks or ways out. And then this move. Okay. Weakening the dark squares a bit. So I'm skeptical of some of Yabatis' moves. He hasn't made any like major mistakes, but I would probably play in a different way at some points. But look at that. Pawn on e1. It's clogging up the king side, so the rook on f1 can't move. So now he not only has like a bad bishop, but he has a bad rook essentially at f1. D6, and now he's just tied in knots. And when you start seeing stuff like this, where the pieces actually, they're basically compressed into a little 3x3 cubicle, that means that your pieces aren't coordinating. That's a sign that white is just being strategically outplayed. So it's worked out. H6 is like really luxurious. And then eventually, you took care of the pawn. I would think take with the queen. Oh, you're dropping d6. Oh, whoops. So what is this? Oh, you just blundered then. Oh my gosh. So h6, man. But I guess the problems here are rather significant. I mean, he's got pressure on d6. This is not easy. What about king e7? I mean, the bishop is such a spectator. You might even be able to play this, like physically defend your... It's kind of ironic, but I mean, physically defend your d6 pawn with your king. Maybe it's worth considering. I want to see what the oracle says here. Computer says king f8. That's a bizarre move, but king here? Yeah, even this is okay. Bishop d7 according to the engine. Okay, so I don't like h6. And now, just with check, you drop that pawn. The position is kind of a mess. Now you've lost control of e5. You've lost a pawn. It's an insignificant pawn with the double pawns. But your king isn't 100% safe. So now black has to be careful. Bishop e6. I think e5 is just hanging. That's an important pawn. Even so, maybe we've got a problem here with c6. King e7, it's a little too late, man. You just fell apart. You were kind of overconfident, it seems like. And queen a5, as we said, is always bad. Ooh, that's nasty. Rook takes, knight takes, queen e7, king f8, queen f7. So the lesson learned. Asterbate, excuse me, I don't know why I keep saying that, but Yabatis, he had a great opening, but this is the thing. I mean, you play something like the Gingy Indian or f5, you cannot take it for granted. You're playing a very risky type of system, and your king is kind of open. You've got to be precise, and this is a classic example of it going wrong. But I think that black had a massive advantage. If you just played carefully, you had a huge advantage. You just have to be careful about your king. So Yabatis, good try. You'll play better next time. Get used to this type of system. But f5 was interesting. I think it's not good here because of e4. Just so you know. You need to have really, really strong, secure control of e4 when you try to do this type of Gingy Indian. But I think this just isn't right here. You've got to play either knight f6 or probably queen a5 in this position. And even then, it's kind of risky. Okay, Someone Unsound, Move 11, Wolfsing, and Testosterone. We only have half an hour, guys, so we're going to have to get these games in. Somewhat Unsound. Invited you to Hyper Accelerated Dragon. Oh, this starts us down the line of the Hyper Accelerated Dragon. What did I want to look at? What did we want to look at here? Wait a second. Someone Unsound. Are you with us? Maybe Someone Unsound didn't submit a game. This is just something he wanted me to look at. Opening idea. There are more games in that study, though. If we go in there. I don't know if he's here. Someone Unsound was here earlier. Yugoslav attacks. So they're just variations here. Main line. Okay, I guess this isn't for this for the study. This isn't for the stream, I suppose. Okay, we'll go on to Move 11. Who's next? Interested in this line for black, wondering where black went wrong in this game. Would you recommend a way of playing this line for black? Just an opening repertoire for lessons. Okay. Alright, I thought it was a submission for tonight's stream. So, Abrahamian against Bertsesh David. I saw David in the Budapest Spring Festival, and we have a kind of funny situation. We sort of did an exchange. Since I've been living in Hungary, he moved to the United States to go to school and stuff. We were joking about the fact that we have an exchange program going on. All right. So this is Abrahamian against Bursesh, and where did Black go wrong? Well, Black went wrong when he lost to a much lower rated player. Let's see, e4, e5. What was this? I have the accelerated dragon in my mind. Anyway, okay, let's flip it up. I'd like to see it from David's perspective. David, knight f6. I like the two knights defense. Knight g5. You know, I think this move is. I just don't really subscribe to this. Who is this a trick for, as Bronstein would say? Beliavsky. If you want to play this with Black, I guess you get the Beliavsky book and you study his games. We can ask Nefedov what he recommends. He likes to play these. Let's see, d5, e takes d5. So, I mean, some people subscribe to knight d4 and b5, which can transpose. But I like the classical approach here with knight a5, check, c6, d takes c, b takes c. There are various moves. Nigel Short has even played like queen f3, bishop d3. Obviously, bishop f1 is I thought bishop f1 is a move here. I guess it's not. Strange. Why did I think that this was a move? This position. It's weird. All right. So bishop e2 or bishop d3 or queen f3. This move, knight d5. Okay, this point is interesting. I'm not an authority on this move 11, but I'll try to understand where Black went wrong. I guess this is not the only move. h6, not scoring too well. Okay, here, here, here. Short against Kasparov. This is a 2011 game. What is that? Some sort of exhibition blitz game? I think we can throw that away. I mean, Navarro versus Beliavsky looks significant because that's like two good players and a lifetime expert. We probably want to see that game. What went wrong there? Did Beliavsky just like lose later on? Or did he do something to get outplayed theoretically against Navarro? I mean, Beliavsky is getting up there, so age-wise, Navarro has a slight advantage. Still can play, though. Alexander. Let's see, castles, knight f4. There's an interesting one where Black can castle kingside. You got to admit that, all joking with Ancient Aliens aside, castles is a developing move, whereas knight f4 is like moving the same piece twice. So maybe we ought to think about castles. So without turning on the engine, I'm a little bit interested in the statistics here, move 11. Let's see castles. There's some strong players there. Basim Amin, Demchenko, Inarkiev, Beliavsky. This might be a significant point to vary. I mean, Bertsic David is a good player, but he's not as strong as these guys. That's what concerns me, is that we're not developing when we play knight f4. And obviously the statistics look scary. Look at the difference there. Very few wins. And here Black's doing almost equal, although White is winning more. The winning percentage for Black goes way up. Okay, 55 games is not a lot, but I like the move in spirit better. Castles. Let's see, knight f4, rook e1, and Black almost never wins in this position. Look at that. You know, and here if you play castles, apparently there's a lot of wins. And again, like really good company. Maybe more important than statistics are the names. Beliavsky, Amin, Demchenko, and Inarkiev. Like all really good players you see there at the top of the list. And Beliavsky probably losing because of his young, talented opponent, not so much the position. So I don't know. But let's see. Knight f4, rook e1, take. We're following old theory? No. This is relatively modern, 2011, all relatively new games. But Nigel Short against Kasparov, this like one of these silly St. Louis organized exhibition matches, I mean, whatever. You know, I don't think that's serious. Marcus Rager did win a game. We got some other good players playing black here, though, so let's see. Castles. David knows a lot of theory. He's been well trained. Lukács, I think, was his trainer. Rook e8, and now b3. c5, clamping down on d4. You see, the clamp on d4 makes this pawn irrelevant. We got to get the knight back in the game. That's classic. Probably David loses like later in the game. So wow, we get to this point and all of a sudden black scores well. So white maybe made some sort of mistake. It looks like she has no advantage. She's up a pawn, but it's an irrelevant doubled pawn. So it looks like David had a good game. What did black do wrong? I don't know. Nothing. Knight c6, we're still following theory. Rook c1. Knight b4. I mean, that move seems a little bit weird to me. Somehow, something about this closed structure giving up our knight. But we have to defend, so I guess we have no choice. So this position, it's all theory. Shankland, Abrahami, and Bertzish, so those two games are there. It's a really close position, man, but her only extra pawn is this irrelevant pawn here. It's hard to imagine how you lose this, really, with black. He overpressed for sure. Let's see. Bishop b7, knight takes e5. Okay, that's significant, though. We lose this pawn. I mean, I'm a little bit concerned about that. Why is black losing their e5 pawn in this position? Does anybody understand this? Can somebody fill me in on why we have to sacrifice our e5 pawn? Let's see what the computer says. Perhaps there's some reason we have to do that. The computer likes it, though, because of queen d5. So apparently this is still okay. Here, here, here. The only game where this happened. So it looks like black played queen d5, which is natural. So we dissected the problem here. I mean, David is not a lifetime e45 player, so he maybe doesn't notice that deeply. But it looks like queen d6 is a good move. So I don't know, move 11, it just looked like it's like a one-move mistake here. Black's got no problems. In fact, like she shouldn't even necessarily have anything. So I think this is just a simple, you know, like not knowing the theory 20 moves deep, knowing it 19 moves deep by Bertzish. There's no reason that white should be better here. These pawns are kind of useless. I mean, he played a very natural move, but it looks like some kind of mistake. He just walked into a trap that forces a trade of queens. And even here, it doesn't look that bad, honestly. I'm a little surprised he lost here because he's got so much more experience than Abrahami, and you'd think that David would be able to hold, being a good defender. But somehow she beat him. Anyway, that's the answer to that, so we can cross that off. We've got 2 games left for Wolfsing and Chestosterone. You think you see what he missed? Well, he might have just missed queen f3. You know, I think that's a natural assumption. Knight takes f3, rook takes e1 check, knight takes e1, a5, knight e4. I mean, even here, you're like 2 pawns down, but it's kind of like, well, we have a4, the pawns look weak. I mean, I would be optimistic, at least I wouldn't probably lose even here, you know? I don't know that she would beat me in this position, but I guess she's a pretty good player. She was, like, wasn't she winning the U.S. Women's Championship at some point? I've never met her. Okay, Wolfsing and Chesty are up next. So we've got this. Wolfsing, relatively new subscriber. Thank you guys for subscribing to the stream. We're going to take a look at 2 more games, and then we'll be back tomorrow with our 12:30 Eastern Time Blitz Fast Friday 5+3 against everybody. Open challenges to established accounts here on lichess tomorrow. JCS, thanks for moderating. Thanks everybody for subscribing and supporting the stream. This week, Nils, Jim, and someone on Sound, the biggest donators to the stream. You guys can also donate via PayPal or Streamlabs. If you click on the Panda GIF under the Twitch page. And don't forget that I do have the YouTube channel, so you can subscribe over there. Slowly, the YouTube channel subscription is going up. Video chess training on YouTube. Please just subscribe and support the stream. Let's see what Wolfsing does here against Aborigin. National Master. Alright, so this is Wolfsing's first submission to a Thursday subscriber stream. Yeah, okay. This Grandelius game by Carlsen, that was a masterpiece, man. I mean, but I think a really stupid choice by Grandelius to play the Nimzovich variation against Carlsen. You don't want to do that against a player of his caliber. You just play your best stuff against Carlsen. Okay, knight d5, so c3. This is lame, but you got to play what you know, and Wolfsing is just transposing to a c3 Sicilian. So he's not punishing the Nimzovich variation, which is not that easy, by the way. I mean, I guess like the main line is knight c3. Or you can also try, which I played, knight c3 first in this position. Like typically people play d5, and there's some interesting lines here with like e5, ed. There's also independent variations in this line as well. But I think it's nothing wrong with what Wolfsing does. If you like the c3 Sicilian, that's fine. He missed rook takes e5, doesn't work. Rook takes e5, queen e5, queen b7. Okay, JCS is talking about the last game. He thinks that Bertsesh basically like had a hallucination tactically. It's hard to know 20 moves of theory in something that you maybe don't play that often. C takes d4, C takes d4, d6. So it's just a main line. Now bishop e5. This move I've never seen before. So the bishop c4 is like massive amounts of theory. Kasparov talks about this position in his book Revolution in the 70s. I mean, it's such a well-known line and a critical line for the c3 Sicilian. Just tons and tons of theory. Main line being knight b6. There's also e6, which I've actually played both. I don't really like playing against the c3 Sicilian. It's basically my worst statistical opening with black. I never did really find a system that I've been that comfortable with. I tried everything. But here Wolfsing plays bishop b5, and obviously queen a5 check happens. And I say that it's always bad. Of course, if it wins a piece, it's not bad. Here, queen a5 check, knight c3. Knight c3, bishop takes c6 check, bc, bc. That could be some sort of gambit. I have seen this in a similar position. Let's see if this works here. Yeah, so it just works. I mean, it's ending up quite bad for white, I think. Take, take, take. Here you could play something like queen d2, maybe. Let's see. The minimize the damage, but I mean, how's white gonna castle if black plays like bishop a6? You got some problems. So Wolfsing, unfortunately, just doesn't know, the c3 Sicilian theory here. So, all right, if you don't know the theory, play something solid. That would be my recommendation. If you're in a position like this, you don't know the theory, go on the conservative side. Play something like bishop e2. The less you know, the safer you need to play, essentially. So bishop e5, queen a5, and this is the game. Knight c3, bc6. He took back bc6, and white just took back on c3. So maybe the queen d2 is better here. I'm not sure if he was aware of this possibility. But it still doesn't solve all of white's problems. Yeah, you knew nothing about this variation, so I'm not sure. The way you played it, well, we're not going to get to castle, and that's our main issue here. If we can't castle, then I'd rather just play queen d2 and not sacrifice anything. if you can trick him into, like, you know, letting you castle, yeah, this is brutal. Bishop a6. That's better than taking the pawn. That's a really nasty surprise. I expected queen takes, bishop d2, and then something like queen c4, or maybe queen d3, which is also good. It's probably good for black as well. So he's really in big trouble, I think. Bishop a6, d, excuse me, e takes d. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do about our king? This is a serious issue. I don't know how we're going to get our king to a safe position. I don't really care that much about losing the c3 pawn, but I don't see a future for our king. How can we cross over? How can our king ever be safe? And he took here and played queen d3. Wow. A really nice move, d7 check. Wow. Tactically alert, bishop a5, that's beautiful. Really beautiful. Amazing how it can turn around. This is an awesome turnaround. Just when he's like lost, black gets greedy and starts taking pawns. That is an awesome tactic. Nice job. Wow. Black became overconfident, you know, but there's just no reason to take this pawn here. It just has nothing to do with his advantage, I think. His advantage is that your king is trapped. So all he needs to do is try to find a way to complete his development with bishop e7 castles, and you're dead, you know, or close to dead. So black kind of just didn't remain consistent. You got to realize what is your advantage. And I tell people this all the time. Realize what is your advantage and talk to yourself. Say, well, okay, what have I got here? What's the evaluation? I'm better here because white can't castle. So how do I take advantage of the fact that he doesn't castle? By winning material? No. The advantage is castling. Do the opposite. I was telling Acerbate this today. When the other guy doesn't develop, then develop. Just accelerate your development. If the other guy, you know, is grabbing material, you want to give up the material and play for dynamic attack. Here he just gets greedy, but really nice execution. Just when it looked like white was busted, bishop d2, queen d3. So there probably might be a way he can play this, I guess, not to be dead in the water. Let's see. Queen a3, queen at a distance. You still have great play though after d7. It's totally crazy. So he made it easy for you, but it's a beautiful, beautiful combination. Nice job. Bishop d2 here. This is awesome. And you just win either a knight fork or the bishop a5. Beautiful. Okay, guys, last game for today. Thanks for submitting that, though. That's a cute combo. Chess Testosterone. A game I played against a cheater, but actually pretty interesting. Curious how you would improve my play. My understanding when each side finally clashes and I lose. So you lost against a suspected cheater. Okay. So we're actually black here. All right. White had like very low center pawn loss. You're actually good though, 19. Well, let's just analyze this game objectively in our last 10 minutes for the stream. Mr. Coffee, what's up? Good to see you. JCS is here. He's healthy. Yeah, Bob's always making those crazy jokes. So this move, I think that you played this against me, Testosterone, or in a similar line. Kind of interesting idea. All right, that's fine. And now this is like a game, dude, that I lost that was published in Inside Chess. I lost with black in like 20-something moves. Except I played f5, I think. I lost with black in 20-something move. White never moved his central pawns. But you maybe don't have to transpose to that f5 system. See here, it's not necessary to play f5. You played d6. This looks like a better move. I still like white though. I think white has a good position. Not necessary to do that though. So that's good. d3 and now f5. Yeah, I mean, so the game that I lost, you know, went something like f5. I want to say knight f3. I don't remember exactly now. Alexander Kallichstein. This was a very old game, again from the 1992 era, like we saw the earlier game I played. So kind of like bishop a3, c5, queen b3. He just never moved his central pawns and killed me. I guess I overextended myself with like e4, but I was too optimistic. This is interesting. So d6, d3, knight e7. You could play this. There's no rush, and just leave the free movement of the f pawn. There's a Benjamin game. Yurtachescu against Garin Jones. Jones losing. Jones a great Grand Prix attack player. Kind of a modern Grand Prix aficionado, carrying the torch for the likes of Hodgson, Hebden. You go ahead and play f5, okay? Knight f3, knight f6, castles, Svidler Carlson. So you've actually transposed to a relatively okay variation. Rook b1. Well, I don't know if he's a computer. I mean, he could just be copying the opening book. You know, there's no guarantee that you know. This player doesn't need a computer to just copy engine. I mean, copy the book moves. Looks like rook b1, queen e8. Now bishop g5. That's a weird move. You know, I wouldn't think that bishop g5 would be played by an engine. It is a problem piece, though. I call it like a ghost bishop. You don't know what purpose it has. It just kind of sits there and doesn't enter the game. It doesn't have a clear role. And I think that's one of the best things about this variation for black. So I'm not convinced that white is an engine necessarily, and he may be. But bishop g5, not a great move. You see here Shandor Farago played it. That's not a big not a big expert in the opening, Shandor. So he just kind of makes stuff up. Plays all types of random stuff. Yeah, but bishop g5, this move looks very thematic. You see here knight e1. Knight e1 to play f4, to maneuver the knight to c2. These are standard ideas. This move has nothing to do with strategy, really. I think he's just hoping to trade it off. b6 looks okay, as long as you can get bishop b7. Here, now you have a problem with f5 and the long diagonal. So you're kind of overloaded with the bishop, and essentially you're trying to defend 2 points. But I like this move, bishop d7, and then you're still performing these 2 functions. I've definitely had games like this, Just Testosterone. I also did a video recommending the black side of the reverse Grand Prix attack long time ago. This move is just winning material. But I think that it's not necessarily best. It's a very risky move for white. What should he do? Should he consider playing like f4? The e3. This unfortunately... See, that's why this bishop g5 move is so stupid. I mean, if his bishop is still on c1, he could essentially play f4 and not necessarily have to fear, you know, getting you in on e3 there. But he doesn't want to trade off his bishop necessarily. Bishop c6, bishop c6. So this is like kind of materialistic. And then h6. h6 is not a move that I'm satisfied with for you. So, I mean, I don't know. You know, if it's been proven beyond the shadow of doubt this guy is a computer, he's possibly using it to help supplement his play. But I don't agree with all of his moves. I mean, I think you have some compensation here, actually. And I'm not sure, you know, I'd like grabbing that pawn because black should have some play. But, okay, h6 is all right. He takes, and he's up a pawn. All right. Knight e3, but still, compensation. Queen h5, rook f8. Now you play queen f7, but how about queen h5? I mean, this is a little more aggressive. You can get in there. You can double the rooks. That looks to me like better than queen f7. The engine is suggesting queen e6, which is a different move altogether. You have some compensation here, so this is not bad. f3's, that's a professional move. Tripled on the f file. And now d4, which we didn't expect. I think at this point you have to change your game. Wow. Well, you don't want it to get locked up. Yeah, I mean, e4, this is a mistake. This is a significant mistake. Because you're going to let the structure change, let it get locked up. You want fluidity with the bishop, or you want him to play something like d5 when his double pawns are just fixed. So I think you should retain maximum fluidity here. Maybe something like rook e8 and be willing to shift to a more flexible structure. I am worried about knight g4 and e4 though by white. So I mean, it's possible he's using an engine. I really don't know, but some of his moves I'm not convinced are engine moves. Maybe he's just supplementing, like blunder checking himself, essentially making some mistakes like positionally, but blunder checking with the engine. So I don't like d5. I mean, he's got some structural problems, but now it's all locked up and it's hard for your bishop to work. So even now you have some compensation, Nimzo style. Hold on, guys. So I think it's still an interesting game, but the fundamental rule here is don't let him lock it up with the knight against the bishop. Very strong queen. White is better. Difficult position to play for you. I guess at the end of the day, you just kind of run out of things to do. But the onus is on white to win. It's kind of ironic. You would think that trading the bishop for the knight in a closed position would be a good thing, but you're a pawn down, so I think you just have to hang tough here and keep the tension, basically. Maybe the minor piece endgame isn't that bad. Essentially, maybe the bishop gives you drawing chances. With a lot of pawns, he has a lot of pawns on white squares. In an endgame where it's like bishop versus knight, he's going to have to worry about those pawns being on white squares. So maybe your bishop can creep back and come down to like a4 and get inside the pawn structure. Start attacking them later with like bishop, bishop a4, c2, b1, a2. Yeah, so just this exchange, I think, kind of capitulates into just a kind of technical endgame where you're just a pawn down now with zero compensation. Whereas with the bishop versus the knight, I know he can stick his knight on e3, but let's say you move your king like you said. This kind of endgame would like you trade all the stuff. Rook takes. Maybe this type of endgame. Just hypothetically, even though he has a pretty knight on e3 or whatever, I don't think this is that trivial and that easy for white to win. His queen is real strong though, so that's going to be a problem. The strong queen, it's going to be difficult to hold. But I think the exchange of bishop for knight is capitulating. Anyway, it's very possible your opponent was getting assistance. There's no way to say from one game, but it's definitely possible. Anyway, guys, interesting games today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks to JCS for moderating. Thanks all you guys for resubscribing. And we have a new subscriber, I think a gift sub from Masturbate for Troll, who's been a subscriber before. So we have at least one new sub today. Anyway, yeah, it looks too perfect for white, but I think it wasn't truly perfect. There were some moves I'm a little skeptical about. He wasn't playing like the best move every single time, but that's the way people do it these days. Anyway, don't worry about it. I will see you guys tomorrow, 5+3 Blitz on Friday. Open challenges. Move 11, Mr. Coffee. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Thanks, everybody, for submitting the games and for supporting the stream. Thanks to Nils this week, Jim, and someone on sound, among the rest of you guys. Acerbate everyone else for supporting my stream. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye. Goodbye, guys. Have a great night. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.